Hello, race fans. Welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys podcast, brought to you by ShortTrackExclusives.com. I'm your host, Thomas Faddis, alongside two other short track guys in the studio, as always. Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07, Can'tQuitFishing.com sportsman here locally at Five Flag Speedway, and 2021 sportsman champion at Five Flag Speedway. And Ted Baber, Ted Baber Video Productions in Pensacola, Florida. What's up, guys?
Greetings.
Good evening.
Yeah, welcome back to another show. We just had a pretty good conversation with possibly a special guest next week. We'll get to you with that in a little bit later. We're going to do a sportsman recap from this past weekend, along with the Alan Turner Pro Late Model Race, number one, locally here in Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida. The Colossal 100 at the dirt track at Charlotte, and upcoming Cars Tour at Franklin County. We're going to do some entry lists. Southern Super Series news coming. Greenville Pickens will come up with a little bit later, and shout out to the week. And we'll maybe doing an announcement for our special guest next week. But first, let's get to the sportsman recap for this past weekend, Jim.
Well, we went out and we didn't qualify. We were going to run heat races, and we rained out Friday night. Had a bad bunch of thunderstorms come through, so we ran Saturday. Took the first green flag at 1 o'clock, and we were the first race. Started third. I won't say it was a dirty move, but it was kind of cruddy what happened. The leader, the pole sitter, his son was on the outside, and so he parks it getting in the corner to let his son down in front of him. I get what he did it for, but it's still kind of chicken poop as far as I'm concerned, but it is what it is. And we got to second and stayed there probably a good 6 or 7 laps, and then the car went away. It got tight. We found a problem, so we're going to get it fixed. And no big deal, but a top 5 finish, finished fourth, drove it on the trailer in one piece without a scratch. Can take it home and make it faster. We were only 3 100ths off the leader. We were actually faster than the car that finished right ahead of us. So we know we're getting there. We'll get there pretty quick. And a shout out to my teammate Ben Cranford, who started on the pole, led a couple laps for the first time since he's been racing. And we got some work to do on his car, but we're getting him faster too. And we're hopefully going to be able to get him running get him a podium for this year's out. So, and I've driven that car too. So we've had a lot of fun, and it was some good racing. I for a day race, which the track's really hot and slick, it's different. So,
And completely green because it got totally washed off.
oh yeah, we had some nasty weather come through. We're sitting in the truck, lightning's popping all around us. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Pretty scary, but we're thankful. We had good racing, and the like I said, the pure stock race was a good one.
Yeah, it was.
Ended up being a pretty dadgum good show. And then the late model race was actually even better.
Oh, man.
Roper won the pure stock race, and he drove a heck of a race. And the Latham kid did not cut him any slack. They were all over each other.
And it was announced that there will be a bounty starting next race on
There
Robert
needs
Loper.
to be,
Yeah.
because we need to get that 343 up there where we can compete with Robert Loper. So we're going to try that. And I think we got a car that's competitive. We were a little tight, and the right front tire went away, and we found another problem. So we'll get it fixed. It's still a new car. We've only raced it twice.
Yeah.
We should have been racing it 3 times. So now we should have had all the bugs worked out, but it is what it is. And man, to tell you what, that late model race though, Ted,
Oh,
that was a good show.
fantastic.
I wish the 81 had have not jumped that restart, because it would have been a better show, because Hunter Robbins kept on every restart, he'd clear the guy on the outside.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, that's some driving there. We know it can be done. I didn't know that you could do it in a pro late. I know that Bubba's done it on many occasions in
With
a
all
super
that
late.
horsepower,
Yeah.
but you ain't got that horsepower in a pro late model.
It's all about momentum with him.
Yeah, and I mean, he'd get around him, and then the caution would come out again. He had to get around him, and the caution would come out again. And then he'd, and Rosario, I'm going to tell you something. Like I said, I didn't know, and I found out that his dad is Reggie Rosario, who was a modified ace, drove number 44 up north, was one of the baddest modified drivers.
Absolute
The ground
legend.
pounder modifieds. He is an absolute legend, but they had to black flag him because he wouldn't adhere to the black flag. They eventually pulled his scorecard,
Right.
and they had to go to the owner, Anthony Campy, and tell him, get your driver off the racetrack.
Well, rules are rules, you know.
Yeah,
and-
you can't jump he jumped the restart before the restart zone. He was
Right.
long gone. You can't do that.
He was.
And
I think the rule is you cannot pass before the start finish line, and he did that. So
Yeah, well, I've been past the start finish line, but that's depending on who the guy in the tower's paying attention to.
oops.
Yeah, oops. But that was actually ended up being a pretty good race, and a big shout out to Justin Bonnet
Yep.
for a top 5 finish. He was running in the 3rd position when he had the last caution, and Casey Roderick got around him for 3rd. But Justin Bonnet had a competitive car.
Very.
And that was good to see after his, he's had some bad races and problems, but to finish 4th and to run in the top 3, he had a podium till right there at the end. Like I said, Roderick got back around him, but congratulations to that team for the effort. They really stepped it up, and it's good to see.
Great racing. I love that.
Yeah, and now just after 2 races, you're sitting 5th in points, only 22 points behind. But, you got 2 races under your belt. Brandon Fowler, Darrell McDonald, Maddox Langham, Jonathan Langham in front of you. I mean, you're just going to kind of take it by stride and just kind of play out the season like it is.
Yeah, it's like I said, the racing's been pretty good. The first race we cut a tire down, had a DNF, my first one in 4 full seasons, so much I can do about that, but we're going to stay competitive, stay close. Who knows what happened? Somebody could get tossed and we get the point lead, or I can outrun those guys the rest of the season. So that's our goal, is to outrun them. So we're going to do the best we can with what we got. Thank you to all my sponsors and everybody that helps with the car. Martin and Will. Well, Will hadn't been out there. He's driving the truck now, so we've kind of lost a crew member. But funny story, I recently lost like 40 pounds because I found out I have diabetes. And I was out there Friday night. I've been eating right and doing the right things. And I got there before everybody else. I went down to Tech, picked out tires for Ben Cranford's car, for my car, got all the tires sized and ready to go. Unloaded both cars by myself. And when my crew finally shows up, they're like, "What do we do?" "We just put tires on the car." And they're like, "You got all that done?" Yep. I got so much energy. It's hilarious. A good thing. My health's
a good thing, yeah.
Yeah, my health's better. So that's a positive.
Well, that wasn't really all the activity that weekend. And, you coming away with that 4th place finish and you're 5th in points early in the season. There was a big race that was following that on the weekend with the Alan Turner Pro Late Model. Something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We were talking about.
That was some fantastic racing. Very competitive. They started, I believe, 23 cars total. And they had one that didn't qualify. And then because of the rain out, some of the cars that were competing.
Yeah, we lost like 3 cars, I think, because they had to race somewhere else.
Dustin Smith, I know that he had to go to Mobile and compete for the PLM points over there, so that took him out.
Yeah, Mobile ran the same day, so they ran during the day, and then Mobile ran that night. So a lot of guys in our division, some of the guys in front of me, all 4 of those guys in front of me all hauled butt, except Brandon Fowler, all hauled butt from Mobile. I was supposed to take the 343 over there and race in pure stock, but we didn't get a chance. But congratulations to Hunter Robbins. Yeah. An excellent race. Dude, you passed Rosario on the outside, I don't know how many times. The racing was incredible because Roderick and Rosario had a hell of a battle early on in the race. Every time they had a caution, they were going at it. And then Rosario decides to jump a restart big time and would not adhere to the black flag.
No.
It was a shame because it ruined a really good race because he would get out on him, Rosario would chase him down, pass him back, caution, then they would line up and do it again, and it ended up being a really good show.
Could have been better.
No, it could have been better. Jake Garcia didn't start too high in the field, but he worked his way to 2nd.
Right.
I don't think anybody had anything for Hunter Robbins, and that was really good. He's a local guy now. He lives in Pensacola, so it was good to see him.
Ronnie Sanders.
Ronnie Sanders' car win another race because that legendary 18's been coming to Five Flags since Christ was a corporal, as they would say.
Very long time.
And, really good show. And it was good to see Casey Roderick get up to 3rd. But the big shout out to me is to Justin Bonnet.
Yeah.
Drove an excellent race, was in the top 3 to let late caution come out. Roderick got around him. He was actually catching Roderick back, but he just ran out of time. Yeah. But for all the trouble that Justin Bonnet has had at Five Flags with the fire a few years ago and everything else, it was good to see him get a top 5, and he earned it. Had a great car. It's a Fury chassis. I hope they bring it back, and I hope he does even better next time.
Now, Casey, in his post-race interview, talked about how he had to change his line a little bit in order to get back up there where he finished in the 3rd spot. It just wasn't working for him where he was, so he just did a little adjustment on his driving style and came back.
Well, Roderick's one of the best in late model racing right now. He is in the top 3 of the best late model drivers in the country as far as I'm concerned, because the dude can drive. He's been winning. He's going to continue to win. And he's not driving his own stuff now. He's driving for somebody. So that's going to be good on him, so you don't have to worry about spending the money.
And he can, it doesn't matter what he gets into, whose car it is, he can still drive it.
Make it competitive. If not, you give him time to work on it and make it competitive. But congratulations, Hunter. That was a great race, dude. We're as a local driver now, we're proud to have a Pensacola boy in victory lane. And next time, Rogerio, adhere the black flag, dude, because that was kind of uncool because he was also holding people up. You can't do that. And I learned that that kid is the son of modified ace Reggie Rogerio from up north and the Ground Pounders.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. I know who he is and he used to drive number 44. But congratulations, Hunter. Good job.
Hunter Robbins, Jake Garcia, Casey Roderick, Justin Bonnet, and Chris Davidson, which we've mentioned quite a bit. And it's good to see Chris Davidson from Pearl in Texas come in there with a top 5 finish. We got some notables with Hudson Holder fishing 8th, and then Christopher Tullis, which we've talked a lot about, finishing 9th. Colin Allman with 10th, all the way from Plant City, Florida. We did that to 417 Speedway down there in Punta Gorda, Florida. And then JoJo Wilkinson from Hueytown, Alabama, finishing 12th. And I know that's not probably their finishes that they would like, but there's some of the names that came in for that big Pro Late Model race, and it's just Alan Turner, number 1.
I think she had a spin early on in the race, too, which probably angered her tires a little bit and didn't help.
No, she's driving for Jet Motorsports, too. She's in a nice car. The Jet don't bring junk.
No.
So just some bad luck that she had, but good racing all around, and it was a darn good show, and I was glad to watch it. It was some Pro Late Model races were boring. That one was actually exciting.
It was good.
Good show.
Yeah, I was speaking about good racing. That's all we talk about really is good racing, and we're going to go into the Colossal 100 at the dirt track at Charlotte that started, and we got last episode we talked about this starting on that night on Wednesday.
Right.
$25,000 to win dirt late model race at the dirt track at Charlotte, and Chris Madden comes away with the win over Scott Bloomquist, Johnson Davenport, Ross Biles, and Chris Ferguson. We got some notables there with Tim McCready, Kyle Larson. I think we know a little bit about him. Brandon Overton and Shane Clanton, Joseph Joyner here locally in our backyard in Milton, ended up 22nd. I know that's not, his expectations, and we all know that he's a better driver than that. Right. He's had some big wins before, unfortunate that night, but that was a kickoff on Wednesday night for the Colossal 100 at the dirt track at Charlotte.
Yep, and Joseph Joyner's competing against the best in the country just to make the show is big.
That is huge.
And, they're getting some new cars I've seen on their vlog. They're getting some new chassis, so, you never know. They might have enough to compete next time. I mean, I'm not saying that they don't, but it's hard to beat Scott Bloomquist and guys like Kyle Larson.
Any of the McCreadys.
Jimmy Owens and Tim McCready, Brandon Overton, all those guys that run that late model series, the Lucas Oil series, they're hitting all the big races, and yeah, it's tough. But I know the Joiners have got a pedigree that we have talked about, youth experience pedigree. You can talk about all this jargon that we've gone through with Short Track Guys podcast, but he's got the pedigree to get in there and mix it with those guys. He's won big races. He's proved himself. He belongs there.
Oh yeah, I didn't say he didn't belong. There's a lot of them that are up there that don't, but he's not one of them. And for the team they've got, for the money they've got, they do really, really well. And I'd like to see him win one of those big races eventually.
Yeah, that was Wednesday night. And then Thursday, obviously, well, not obviously if you don't know, but, Kyle Larson comes in. He was getting ready for the weekend in Kansas. Kyle Larson comes in over Brandon Overton. Chris Madden finishes 3rd that night. Tim McCready, Scott Bloomquist were the top 5, and then Dale McDowell, Kyle Strickler, and Shane Clanton 7th, 12th, and 14th, respectively. But that was just Thursday night. And then Friday got canceled, and it was a rain out, and there was not going to be a makeup. And I'm not really sure if the money carried over because Saturday night's race was worth $50,000. And you want to take a wild guess as to who won that one?
No.
No.
Yeah, it was Wednesday night's winner.
No,
Chris Madden.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, $80,000 for the weekend.
wow.
Chris Madden comes away with the win over Jonathan Davenport, Chris Ferguson, Brandon Overton, and Matt Blair. You know, and Joseph Joyner was there Saturday night, finished 19th, and he probably had a little rough weekend, but the Colossal 100, after 13 years, I think they came back to run the dirt track at Charlotte, the Colossal 100. I think it was a hiatus for a while for some reason. But yeah, that put on a great show and a lot of money for those drivers.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Huge payout.
But I mean, you got to consider dirt late model. Those guys make a living with the prize money they make in dirt late model racing, plus sponsorship and things like that. So, I mean, you know, if you can race short track and make a living enough to pay your bills, and some of these guys, I've seen their houses. They got some nice stuff. They got big shops. They got nice rigs. They got nice places to live, and they do it all racing short track.
If you continue to reinvest in your equipment and all that, it
Well, I
doesn't
mean,
hurt.
you do good, and you get sponsors that pay your bills, and then you take the money you win and put it back in your stuff. It's kind of nice. I mean, it's like I said, I've seen some of the shops these guys had rival old Cup shops. They're huge. That's pretty cool. I'm glad to see it.
Well, some exciting racing this past weekend. Coming up this weekend, we have the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour at Franklin County. Franklin County is a little small track in Callaway, Virginia, a little less than a half mile, like 0.375. They've got a 125-lap late model stock car race and a 100-lap pro late model race. Jared Fryer, which we might have a little bit of a connection with, won the 2020 late model stock car race, and Bubba Pollard,
Believe it or else.
which we have another connection with, won the pro late model race in 2020. Now, they didn't race in 2021. They're going to come back. The autosbynelson.com. Yes, I did say that. Autosbynelson.com, 225. The late model stock car entries are Deke McCaskill, Carson Gavapel, Hayden Swank, Caden Honeycutt, Chad McCumbee, Bobby McCarty, Mason Diaz, and Connor Jones. Just to name a few of the guys that we know.
Among others, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the pro late model entries, Cody King, William
Solich.
and Austin McDonald, Penn Krim, Michael Carrier, Caden Popple, which is his brother, Charlie Keevan, which we call Gus Dean, Ryan Moore, and Luke Venhouse, of all people, from the Midwest Tour, coming down Franklin County for the pro late model race. There's just something else that's coming up this weekend. Now, the Southern Super Series update.
Yeah.
They have been canceled at Greenville Pickens.
Unfortunate news.
Unfortunately, yeah, easily South Carolina for the 100 lap race there. They've been they're probably going to be a makeup for that. I'm not sure.
Why'd they cancel it? Did they say?
Weather. They said it was because of weather.
Inclement weather. So they forecast some sort of
Super bad thunderstorm setup, probably. And don't want to be sitting in the middle of a racetrack and seeing tornadoes, because I've had that happen in op before. I've been sitting there and you hear the sirens go off. You're like, what's that? That's a tornado siren. And we're all standing in this big open area, like, really? And then you see it go north of us. We're like, that's scary. And then a few minutes later, one went south of us. I said, you know what? We're going back to Pensacola where it's safe. Get the heck out of here.
Yeah.
Leave this place behind.
Yeah, but they'll probably have to make a makeup. If not,
Yeah, and a big shout out for the week is Tom Behrens. Outdueling Jeff Holtz in the 50 lap Uptown Pro Late Model main event this past Sunday at Slinger Super Speedway, which we've talked a lot about. Slinger's a real high bank, short track bull ring. Yeah, just up in the Midwest, and we've talked about those guys, Luke Van House and John DeAngelis, Alex Prunty, Dennis Prunty, all those guys. Congratulations to him. It's a shout out for that. And I believe it was his first career feature win. So kudos to him and his team, and keep it going. All right. Well, so with that being said, we got possible special guests lined up for next week. We're going to release that sometime soon from our Facebook page. We'll let you know if that's official, but don't want to release the information right now. But just stay tuned, because we might have that coming forward next Wednesday. Guys,
Pretty
Ted,
excited about this.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. I think y'all are really going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting segment that we're going to have if we can work things out. I think we're on the in line to have that happen. It's going to be exciting. It's be interesting, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Like everybody else said here, it's something different from us, but we'll see what happens. And
well, you two-wheeled fans, tune in. That's all we're going to say.
Yeah, you might want to.
You might want to tune in if you're a two-wheel fan. Also, it's going to be. I think it's going to be pretty neat.
Keyword two-wheel fans.
Two-wheels,
Yeah, short track guys, two-wheel fans. Stay tuned.
Yes.
Jim and Ted, man, it's always a pleasure. We say this every week. It's fun. It's always a pleasure to get with you and talk short track racing, whether 2, 4 wheels, doesn't matter.
That's it.
Go round and round, and I'm just excited that you guys are a part of it, and I look forward to continuing to have this grow and get bigger.
We're happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much for having us, and give us a 5-star rating, please. Even you can do it on Spotify now. Apple, you can do it, and you have to leave a review. We would appreciate it. Support us if you can. We really could use the help. And we always say at the end of the show, let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, T-shirts coming out soon. We got koozies up. We're pushing the brand and hopefully getting bigger. And we look forward to our listeners having another joyous episode with us next week. And we'll talk to you next week.
Have a good night.
Good evening.